Hello and welcome back to the workshop. I am speechless as to what happened with that 1997 gaming PC video. It's absolutely blown up, and my subscriber count went from around 500 when I uploaded it to around 1,370, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I'm very happy that people had such great reception to that video. Obviously the YouTube algorithm has had something to do with it, but I'm not complaining. And I'd love to tell you that I've been, hard at work for making a new video, but not really. It's just life had other plans, so I wasn't really able to focus on making a new video, even though I've been dying to. And I've had actually other plans on what video I'm going to make when I return, but I decided to go with something that that's been very recently interesting me, and I've been messing around with. So I have plenty of ideas what I want to make videos on, but I'm just sort of going to go in order of what I feel like doing at the moment. Also, as of a couple weeks ago, I have become a YouTube partner due to the insane increase of subscribers to my channel. And just for transparency, I have just used the automatic settings for whatever YouTube thought was okay for monetization. I'm hoping it's not absolutely filling them with ads. I don't, on newer videos, I don't want to put too many ads so it doesn't get too crazy. But yeah, just thought I would let you know. And thanks again so much. Usually I'm not on this account, as you can see. I'm actually on that one usually. That's what I'm logged in on. But yeah, I do read the comments that are coming in on the videos. So what do I want to make a video on today? It's actually something that's been my passion for a long time, and it sort of takes multiple forms. But the gist of it is, retro gaming can be an expensive hobby. It's definitely become much more expensive as the years go by, and stuff that used to be just thrown away are now priced at insane values. I mean, I used to just watch YouTube videos, and people kept mentioning how prices are going up, used parts prices for retro hardware are going up, and I'm like, nonsense, that's not true. So I thought that prices haven't changed so much, so I go online, look around on usual auction sites, and holy moly, prices have definitely gone up everywhere, not just eBay wise, but even the usual websites I visit for finding nice little gems. So one of my passions for retro gaming has been to try and not spend a lot of money. You can sort of tell that based on that video right there, where I refused to buy a 3DFX Voodoo 1 just for that PC, but it worked out really well, and it always really interested me on how can I extract the most value out of a retro PC purchase, or a retro PC hardware purchase, or building a retro PC. So one of the things that we'll tackle today is sound cards. They've definitely gone up in prices. If you want to play DOS games, the number one thing you'll hear is you need an ISA sound card. And that is true for the most part. ISA sound cards will have the best compatibility when it comes to DOS gaming. Some PCI cards have partial or pretty decent compatibility. And you can even purchase brand new ISA sound cards if you don't mind paying the premium that they come with. But yeah, retro PC audio hardware can get insanely expensive. The higher quality you want, the more you'll have to pay, or well, sometimes it's not even about quality, but just collectability of a certain item. So I have many retro computers in my possession, and some of them are older, some of them are a bit newer. I have actually plenty of later model computers that would contain technically not DOS compatible hardware, without motherboards without any ISA slots. And I looked around, and I was thinking, what's the cheapest way to get into DOS gaming with a DOS compatible sound card. And one of my computers actually contains a chip on its motherboard that would be pretty capable when it comes to emulating Sound Blaster for DOS games. Now, if you don't have any ISA slots on your computer, then there are still many different factors you need to take into account when it comes to playing DOS games and see if your machine will be compatible and be able to output Sound Blaster sound. And one of the most important ones is actually what kind of motherboard you have and what kind of chipset you're using. And some awesome posts on Vogon's detail what kind of hardware you can expect to work in DOS and what kind of technologies you can be using. But for today I'm going to show you a PC that I've actually showcased on my channel before when I was upgrading from an Intel Celeron to a Pentium 4 CPU. That's none other than my Medion Aldi PC, basically, that has a 845 chipset, and its onboard sound is actually pretty decent. At least, well, I used to think that it's kind of crappy, but it can still be made to work. However, I didn't realize it's actually got a lot of potential that I didn't think was there. I just basically installed Windows Me on it and thought, well, whatever, this sound card isn't really good for DOS games that much. But it's actually not true. There are many Vogon's forum posts about this card, and some people are struggling to get it to work, some people say it's great, and there's even been some pretty awesome developments. One of them was Remap CMI, which is a tool that lets you remap the IRQ and the DMA and stuff like that for your CMI sound card. This method didn't really work for me. I wasn't able to get it working properly, unfortunately. I was just not getting any sound and wasn't able to fully utilize this and set it up. Maybe I was missing something, I'm not sure. But this one requires EMM386, and so that limits your options on what games you'll be able to run, I believe. Another post I found was this one. It's a patched initialize tool, and it seems to be improving the compatibility of games when it comes to the sound cards, so it immediately caught my attention, and so I decided to check this out. So my motherboard contains the 8738 MX version, which seems to be compatible, thankfully, but this forum post does say that the SX version will not be compatible, so that's a bit of a shame, but at least I can check this out on my PC. And honestly, I just thought that this wasn't really worth it. At least trying to get DOS sound out of the CMI cards, because I had pretty bad luck when it came to initializing the card. I was getting all kinds of bugs. I was getting really scary, loud noises coming from the sound card. So I just basically went with Windows Me and forgot about DOS sound. I was able to play some DOS games because sound effects would still work, but just not FM. I was using General MIDI for some of the games, and that works perfectly fine. However, apparently there's a way to get FM working in Windows as well. If you load the setaudio.com file in your AutoExec, then you can apparently get FM working, but you need the legacy VXD drivers, and obviously VXD drivers are not gonna work on Windows Me, so I missed the boat on that. But thankfully, this DOS utility is going to save this PC and turn it into a pretty awesome DOS gaming machine. Now, I didn't want to disrupt the Windows Me installation, so I just chucked in a compact flash card with DOS on it, and then I just switch around between that and the hard drive for either DOS or Windows Me gaming. And like I said, this post suggests that this doesn't work with the SX version. I'll get back to it in a little bit later in the video. So let's switch over to direct capture and take a look at what's going on. So loading the initializer into memory, we can see the output here. It tells us what address, IRQ and DMA our sound card is mapped to. Now, it's important to make sure that you try to make your sound card IRQ5, because without it, it will just have it will, for me, before it said IRQ equals A, so I'm guessing it was IRQ 11 or 10 or something like that. It still works, but it works much better if you are able to make the PCI IRQ 5, and that way it's the easiest, and it will work flawlessly with basically almost every game. And so let's take a look at some samples I've recorded. I've checked out a couple games here, so let's take a listen.
I am back.
Hi! Hey!
So, as you could hear, there were a couple issues. It wasn't perfect. Compatibility seems to be pretty decent. Most games will have some kind of sound, and I mean, some sound is usually better than none. However, the audio seems kind of all over the place. Some games are really loud, some games are really quiet, so I had to balance it out a lot. Also, we had no sound effects whatsoever in Doom and Heretic, as well as Hocus Pocus. And also in Jungle Book we didn't have any sound effects, so that's a bit weird. I'm not sure what's going on there. And I also had some major issues with another game, which is Speed Haste. This is the demonic curse loud noise that I was talking about earlier. So if you run this game, it has some kind of weird timing issue. And at some point, once we like go into the setup and then like launch another game, then it will start blasting this really obnoxious loud noise. So that's a bit scary when it's so much louder than everything else. And but yeah, after a restart it seems to go back to normal. Also in Duke Nukem 3D I was not able to get the sound effects working for some reason. It would just tell me that there's something wrong with the card. However, Doom, Heretic, and Duke Nukem, as well as to some extent Hocus Pocus, you could play them in Windows, even Windows Me, and then just use general MIDI for music. And in Windows you will get sound effects, because I did get sound effects in Windows with Hocus Pocus. And also I believe maybe if you play around with the older driver it might work better, but your mileage may vary. So overall, bit of a mixed bag, but I think this is still a decent option for the price. However, I cannot recommend you go buy a new one because of what I've found out. Also, I forgot to mention that none of the Epic Mega games will work with this driver by the looks of it. I've only tried Jazz Jackrabbit and it crashed after about a couple seconds. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. You could play those in Windows or with the old driver potentially. So what about the SX designation cards? Like the Vogon's forum post suggested, these cards will not work with the improved drivers, but I decided to give them a shot anyways, and I did not get any sound out of these cards. However, I wasn't ready for what I was about to discover. I have 3 of these cards, and I decided to check this one out in another test build. That PC uses the same chipset, 845 Intel, and I was even able to just assign the IRQ manually, so there's nothing wrong with that. But unfortunately, not only did the improved driver not work, but even the original CMI8738 driver did not function. I did get sound effects in some games, but most of them not even sound effect and absolutely no music whatsoever, no FM sound, no nothing. And I was wondering, like, how is that possible? I remember when I was using the motherboard equivalent, the MX designation card, an MX designation chip, sound was working even with the original C-Media drivers. It looks like not only is there something wrong with these ones that have the SX designation, like this one right here, like the Vogon's forum mentioned, these won't work with the improved drivers, but also there's something to be said about the revision, which is, for this card, it's O37D. And unfortunately, every single one of these cards are the same. They're all O37Ds. And it looks like the O37D is something to be avoided, because these cards just absolutely do not work whatsoever with the DOS drivers. So you will not be able to get any Sound Blaster music or FM synthesis out of these cards based on my testing. So when people suggest that these cards are readily available online and you can still buy them, like there's millions of them on eBay and AliExpress, I think there's basically a 99% chance that you're going to get one of these, the O37 ones, because that is potentially the latest revision. And so I can't really recommend these cards, especially if you're buying them brand new. If you can find like a used one and you can check what kind of chip it has on it. If it's like an older than an 037, like a 033 or older. I've seen 031s and 021s as well. If you can get one of those will probably work with the drivers, and you will get some compatibility. But these cards, just stay away from them. They're not capable of DOS Sound Blaster compatibility, so that's a shame. It looks like this later revision just sort of removed the FM synthesis chip and just basically reduces DOS compatibility to non-existent. Interestingly enough, the driver still sees them. At least the improved drivers see them. The 1.8 original drivers don't see these cards anymore. The 1.9 official drivers did see the card, but were not able to work with them. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Also, I'm first and foremost a Twitch streamer. I play a lot of older games, sometimes some newer ones as well, so if you'd like to come hang out, then you can find the link in my description. Thank you so much, and take care.